Herzlich willkommen and a warm welcome to everybody here. Today we're talking about properties of leaders, creating greatness, and using the tools of networking with all its methods. And I met Sam Koltinsky. First time, we immediately knew we have in common the motto, together for a better world. You saw the video interview talking about the dual system. That's unique in Germany, and it brings chances to people with practical talents. And amazing is, Sam Koltinsky could manage to get an interview with Dr. Henry Kissinger. Everybody knows him in the whole world for being a great person. And he was born right there in Fürth, not far away. And all these interviews were presented in the United Nations building in New York City, thanks to Sam Koltinsky. There I met Ernest Oppenheimer, and he said, I'm a person that looks towards new cultures. New cultures is very interesting and important to build up your personality, because you're taking the best of all cultures. You're not taking away anything from anybody. He came over to Europe. We traveled around seeing the places of his ancestors, Frankfurt, Germany, and all around. The first role models in life, of course, in every family is the most important. To me, it was our grandpa. He had this production nearby Donauwörth, and in the weekends he spent his time in a workshop. He said, everybody has to come up with a contribution. My contribution as an engineer is to improve products and make the dream of people come true in aviation. And he created more than 100 patents with Ludwig Belko nearby Donauwörth, and later on went to Munich, NBB, and Airbus. He was a happy person, but the real entrepreneur in that family was our grandma. She came from Rothenburg Hotel and Restaurant. People were standing in queue to taste her food. And the food, the recipes and all that came from her ancestors in Spain. That motivated me to start with Spanish language studies. She said, all you have to do is look at the map. Germany is surrounded by 9 countries. Everybody was crossing through. And so when you meet strong people, I'm sure each one of them has a DNA with diversity, like in our family. And also strong people I met with the Trapp family. They've been proud, starting out in Venice, introducing all the falconries in Europe, then moved to Salzburg for salt and mining silver, and later on, the Trapp family were the singers touring around in the US with a Hollywood movie picture. And they visited with me Nuremberg City. And I said, when I'm grown up, I think I want to live there. And today, this is the view from our office. When I was 12 years old, my family told me, you're a big girl. You now go to the American part of the family. You are going to learn a lot. And the first lesson I learned in the Boston airport, Massachusetts. Uncle Phil collected me with the words, you're welcome in the United States of America. You're a nice girl, we like everybody, but Germans, we don't like at all. Our neighbors were running away from horrible Germany, and they're colleagues of mine, professors in Harvard. I don't want any trouble, so you don't speak to them. And I thought, why not give it a try? turning the negative situation into a positive. I ran across the street, rang the bell, saying shalom, shalom. They took me along to the Holy Land. When we returned, I said, nice culture I got to know. Maybe I can show you something of our culture and I hope you like it. Put all the tables on the street, put food on it, and everybody joining, talking everybody with everybody. And this happened in the elegant part of Boston Pearls near the home of Henry Kissinger. And believe it or not, end of August each year, this festival happens. And I couldn't wait for school to start in this new school with new teachers, a new system, and new classmates. And when I opened the door of the classroom, everybody was standing up, crossing arms and saying, Nazi, get out. And again I thought, maybe I try to change a negative situation. And I said, well, we had the worst dictator in history ever. But this should never happen again. That's why I'm here. I cannot do all this alone. I need your help. I need the help of you and you and you all. And they did help. They introduced me to the culture of America, of Greek background, of Afro-American background. They showed me what is value to them. Also going to the churches. And they said, whatever happens in the world, here, people sit together and sing and get the power for the whole week by Billy Graham's ideas. A single person that changed a lot. And when I visited Uncle Chick in Washington, D.C., a nice home in Arlington, and he said, you would be so surprised if I tell you that I'm coming from an Indian tribe in Arizona, made my way to West Point, became admiral as an Indian, and part of the Naval Institute and part of the Pentagon. And he said, we believe in democracy, and the pillar of democracy is the Constitution. So we all together with Aunt Amy, we go to the library and you have a closer look at. And of course they knew exactly what I'm going to find there. There were two brothers that they had the idea of the Constitution and presented it to Abraham Lincoln. One of these brothers had his PhD in Greek philosophy. The other one in political sciences. And where they got their PhD, it was the University of Erlangen. The world is so small, I learned again and again. And when you visit the inner part of Washington, D.C., you see a lot of Greek classical architecture. And the monument of Abraham Lincoln, you can see cars passing by and waving, saying, "Hi, Abby," to reward a great person that formed a country out of a puzzle. And this impressed me a lot. So I went back to Germany and went to school, and they told me a lot about new student exchanges with France and all these countries. And the teacher said, and we do have a new student exchange program. And the door opened, and in came Kisa, a very shy person. He was so nervous he could not even say a single word. The boy said, okay, then we take him to the soccer. Later on, Kisa became the representative of Adidas in all Central African countries. And so many students came from Togo, and the exchanges extended towards family exchanges, cultural exchanges, business projects. And this all came from a single person, Rainer Bucklet on the right side, who continuously told us it is worth to look over the fence in the southern continent that is so big. We know so little about it, and the Togo mentality is matching so well with Bavaria. He started a society called the Bavarian Togo Society, still very lively. My life was caught by the passion of walking all the mountains in Switzerland. And this I knew nobody can cope with, but I made it for international business management at the University of St. Gallen, and they told me, listen, this is a country with 3 languages in consent for all these many years. That motivated me to continue studies in the University of Vichy. The University of Vichy, there I met the person you see in the center, later became the General Consul of France in Bavaria. This is a picture of our office. He asked me, do you know who was the architect of modern European Union? It was Charles de Gaulle. He was writing a book while he was prisoner in Germany. Do you know the city of Weissenburg? Yeah, it's south of Nuremberg. There he made friends with 3 of his guards, and they taught him the German language and made him run away back to France. And what then came was a masterpiece of politics. He arranged in most difficult times after war Germany to go back to the political stage in equality to all the allies. Well, then I was looking for a job, talking with Max Grundig, who was a friend of Henry Kissinger. And I said, well, everybody can study business management, international languages and all that. I like some challenges. Yes, he said, you can meet challenge here and in every technical company, because the technical department does not want to communicate with the commercial department, also the export. We do have to enter the American market, and we have a delegation here. So your professional way to handle this is to talk in a way that no one sense is for how strong the conflict is behind the curtain. And the secretary took me to the conference room. The door opened and I saw the engineers shaking their head. They could not imagine somebody being a support. But the Americans, they were waving at me, didn't they? No, they were not. They were telling me you got 2 minutes, because we were listening for 2 days to boring technical details. The taxi's waiting for the airport down there. I said, good reason to start right away. You come from a culture where you negotiate till you got the price, that's it. They said, yes, but that's not really new, what we want to know. I said, you are now facing a culture where everybody in the company is dedicated towards making you happy with a product, and your client also during the whole product lifetime. No headache, no incident. If any question, you can call the service. And if you make yourself happy, you make your client happy, he will come back to you with the next product. If you like that, stay. They ordered twice as much as ever expected. And then I heard the awarding words were 2 words, good job, by Max Grundig. And Horst Ulemann was next to it from a publishing company. He said, listen, it's not his job to reward you in any kind. You have to reward yourself. And this is very important for your professional career. You have to celebrate, to write it down, to talk to people, to present it. Always remember that. And when you meet people who do not do this, you find them depressive or aggressive. No help for nobody. And that made me fit for the next company that is in machinery and tools, a global player, and I became the head of export department. It was a very good time with a lot of success. And the next challenge was waiting for me. And it was the biggest change in my life, and I think in everybody's life. I had the idea of leaving the safe monthly income behind and have my own company, being self-employed, going into risk. And I knew it's going to happen with technical companies in the field of health, environment, IT, engineering, fine. And I guide them along into new markets, but where to find them? So I went to all the exhibitions, fairs, and congresses and talked to the people. I listened. What are their goals, their targets, and what they don't like? And I said, if you like more than exchanging some business cards, come tonight. We have a technical conference where everybody is talking about his targets, and find out if there's a person on this evening where you can cope with. And it worked out fine. It became so very popular that we've been invited to town halls all over Europe and enjoyed quite a success. And then I was asked to go for election in the Parliament of the Chamber of Commerce, and also become the deputy for the SME companies in Bavaria with the Wirtschaftsbeirat. And there I thought, what is missing is a direct dialogue between politicians, decision makers in ministries, and economy. And I started up with the guidelines, presenting them at the ministries in Munich, also in Berlin. And then the vice president of the European Parliament said, I think you presented also to all the representatives from all European countries in the European Parliament. And the next challenge that came up was by these technical conferences that took place all over Europe. And we call them European tech conferences. And more we saw people from the Gulf states attending, enjoying, showing that they're open-minded and positive about engineering coming from other countries, European countries, and they felt that there are so many things we can learn from each other. So also came a Bahrain construction company. They made 8 billion a year, and they were interested in the dual system. You see the picture when they visited the Chamber of Handicrafts, something unique, and they introduced it in their country, in Bahrain. And we've been invited to the Emirates World Energy Summit. I came there with a delegation to find out that they're starting a CO2-free city, Masdar, next to Abu Dhabi, and this is the reception with the Minister for Environment. And of course, you cannot only negotiate, you have to understand another culture. Not only that I learned the language to count, read, and write, Arabic, also giving a picture of what is different and what we have in common by an intercultural seminar. They awarded it sometime. And Also, it was a very interesting personality to meet the sister of Barack Obama. She invited me to the automotive conference in Munich. She opened that day. And let me tell you a few things you will not read in any newspaper or media. This is showing, of course, the picture of the Burj Khalifa and the ceiling of the Burj Al Arab. But on the left side, second row, there is this lady taking the engineering diploma and celebrating with us. And it was not only her to learn that 60% of all females in Gulf states have an engineering diploma in IT. Enables them to stay in the home office sometime. 80% of all the females have their own company, and 100% of all females have their own bank account. Here you see the Saudi capital, Riyadh, with Kingdom Tower and 2 main streets. And Emirates Airlines was asking and looking around. I brought a delegation because they look for eco-friendly fuel. And the person on the right side is the head of the gas production, who also looks for alternative energy for their people. And on the third row, left, it shows a picture of the mayor of economy. He said, in the town hall, we have gatherings with about 30, 40 companies. When it comes to emerging markets, why not the Gulf states? And when more than 100 companies wanted to participate, he said, now we need somebody from the Gulf states to give a full-scale picture of the whole. And the lady you see with a white shawl is a German word, and it is an Arabic word for her veil. She gave a speech because she is having shares in an airport and in an airline with great success. She took the company of her father. And you see a banker, you see an Almani who's into technical devices from Germany. And then you see a lady, I asked her, why you only show 2 eyes to me? She said, well, I got used to, because when I studied IT, computer science, I was the onlyest girl around and I had to concentrate on my studies. That's why. She got her company named Orbit next to the Dubai airport because she is developing in her company software for many airports. And on the right side in third row, you see when we gave a speech at the Technical University of Abu Dhabi with the president there. And on the last row, you see 2 gentlemen in dish dasha. That's the name of the traditional cloth. They now are doctors in Germany, in Düsseldorf and in Switzerland, Bern, after they studied German language and liked the country so much. And on the right side, last row, you see the Bahrain royal family reception. What came next was reaching out to the stars with becoming organizer for the Aviation and Aerospace Congress. And that starts, of course, with benchmarking, asking people, what do you miss? What do you think we should also offer when it comes to a Congress like that? And so a new concept came out. And the participants enjoyed the dynamic of the networking so much, they said, we can't wait until February 25, second Congress. We want to present our highlights in smaller formats in the regions. And so they did in Germany, but also in Paris and Vienna until end of this year. And there were students coming saying, wow, we also like you to have a focus on new generation. And the students who did give this idea, they got the first prize of DLR, that is German Aviation Aerospace. And the young students who exhibited gave their first television interviews. They later on got the German Prize of Youth Research, Jugendforscht. And the small Astro kids, you see 2 of them, 4 to 14, they've been so excited when they were awarded by the Bavarian Prime Minister. And I think everybody who puts the properties of leadership in his heart, he can find his own way and create greatness and uses the tools the way that is tailor-made to him. And I wish you all the success you're looking for with a great team, wonderful team I have. I'm lucky to say this, and I thank you for listening.